It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye. Hey everyone, it's Aaron from Got a Minute, and it's time to summarize 10 points surrounding the theme of Egypt, let my people go, and how it can relate to this eclipse. Before I get into that, I'm just going to announce that I'm going to try and be repetitive. I've said some of these things. Some of these ideas are new concepts, but we've got to be repetitive and say things over and over. Why? Because as humans, we forget, and as humans, we don't watch every single video. And so we're going to do that in the theme of being repetitive. Thank you for all your gifts. We really appreciate that. The links are in my description box below. You click on more and you get into there. There's also a link called Discord. That's where we have voice chats, and that's where you can reach out and talk to me in a voice chat or anybody else in the Got a Minute community. We'd love to hear from you. We were hoping that the rapture is very soon. Repetition, I don't know when it is. Don't know if it's today or during the eclipse or after the eclipse. I have no clue. Matthew 24, verse 36, when people quote, "No one knows the day or the hour," please read the verse before it. It's not talking about the rapture. Okay, here's my 10 points, okay? All right. Number 1, Little Egypt, Illinois. Little Egypt, Illinois. That's right in the conjunction of the 2017 eclipse and the 2024 eclipse. Little Egypt. So we got a theme already. Little Egypt. Let my people go. Moses and Aaron said, hey, my name's Aaron. That's fun. Point number 2, Cairo, Illinois. Or I don't know how to say it. Cairo, Illinois. There's a lot of purists out there. Thank you for your comments. Cairo, Illinois. That's in the action too. That's in the flower bouquet. What do you think about that? That's fun. Point number 3, a sad point, is abortion oasis of the USA. The nickname of abortion oasis in the USA is apparently in the southern Illinois area. I don't know much about this theme, but I think it goes something like this. The surrounding states weren't doing it at a certain time, but southern Illinois was, and so they nicknamed it the abortion oasis of the USA in southern Illinois. Now, isn't it interesting, in Exodus chapter 1, verse 19, they're trying to kill the babies, but what did the midwives say? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptians' women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. So that word lively is H2422. Well, wouldn't you know it? There are 2,422 days between the 2017 eclipse and the 2024 eclipse. I'm going to say that again. There was 2,422 days between the 2017 eclipse and the 2024 eclipse. That word means lively at the time when they're trying to abort babies in Exodus chapter 1. And here we have the abortion oasis in Little Egypt, Illinois. Ain't that something? That was point number 3. Before we get to point number 3, there are 6 years, 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days between those eclipses as well. You got 4 6s in that thing. Point number 4, we got a place called Faro Lake in New York. Faro Lake in New York. Point number 5, we got a Moses Island. We got a Moses Island in Ontario. It's around that black dot, more or less, where you would expect to see Ontario. Point number 6, we got an Aaron, Kentucky. And in Exodus chapter 12, now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron. So Moses and Aaron, obviously, most of you know that Moses and Aaron were responsible for taking the people out, and they brought their staffs and everything like that. I did want to pause on Aaron and name Aaron. So Aaron, there are 4 letters in Aaron's name, and Hebrew has each letter has a meaning, and each letter has a value. So what's the value? It's an aleph, hey, resh, nun, and the value is 1, 5, 200, and there's a 50. So the total value of Aaron would be 256. What does aleph mean? Ox, bull, gentle, tame, the leader, strength. What is first? Adonai, 1,000. The best thing about Aaron is the word ox is in there. We'll get to that in a second. Hey, The meaning of hey is behold, to show, to reveal. Resh, 200, a head, a person. What is the highest, most important? Chief. And Nun, a fish, to sprout, to spread, offspring, descendant, action, life, heir to the throne. So Aaron kind of means that there'll be a leader who will reveal something, sort of the head of something, bring new life. And that's kind of what Aaron did when he was helping Moses let the people go. And there happens to be an Aaron on the map. So again, there's an Aaron, there's a Moses, there's a Pharaoh's Lake, there's an abortion oasis, there's a Cairo, there's a little Egypt. And before we move on to the next point, Aaron, like I said, the ox or the cattle head. So if you flip this eclipse upside down, it looks like an aleph. Maybe make it look like that. That looks like an aleph head. That looks like a cattle head. That looks like a ram or whatever. Well, that's in Aaron's name, and that's what you see on the U.S. there. And of course, some people say, "Hey, why are you talking about the U.S.? It's all about Israel." Yeah, I know, but I didn't pick where the eclipse is happening, man. Come on, they gotta say, like caramba, man. Everything matters. Okay, we'll move on. There's a place called Lamb, Kentucky. There's also a place called Lamb, Indiana. It's all in there too. In Exodus 12, verse 3, speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, on the 10th month, this month, every man shall take for himself a lamb, according to the house of the father, a lamb for a household. And so it goes on, but you take the blood of the lamb, you put it on your doorpost, and that's what saves you from death. If you do not have the blood of the lamb on your doorpost, you're in trouble. Your firstborn's going to die. And so it wasn't about what was inside of the house. It was what was on the outside of the house that was protecting you. So when God looks at you, how does he look at you as being righteous? Are you covered in the blood of the lamb? Because that's what God looks at. He looks at the righteousness of Christ, not the righteousness of us. And so it's interesting that there's a Lamb, Kentucky, and a Lamb, Indiana in this path, which is part of the Passover theme story here. And this eclipse is close to the Passover time. Pretty interesting stuff. Also note that Tav is sometimes in the shape of an X, but in different types of Hebrew writing, it is the shape of a door as well. So that's another interesting thing, how Jesus says he is the door. The blood goes on the door during the Passover season, and bada bing, bada boom, we got a rapture theme. Exodus 4, verse 8, I mentioned this before, but we're going to go on the theme of repetition. And the repetition here, 4, verse 8, then it will be, if they do not believe you, nor heed the message of the first sign, that they may believe the message of the latter sign, verse 9. And it shall be, if they do not believe even these two signs, or listen to your voice, that you shall take water from the river and pour it on the dry land. The water which you take from the river will become blood on the dry land. This is not a point, but if there was to be a dramatic earthquake on the Madrid fault line, which is right there in Little Egypt, if there was to be a massive earthquake, if God was to do something, man, that land could be split. And if I can get a picture of it, I can show you a picture of how it could look if there was a massive, massive earthquake in the New Madrid fault area, seismic zone. Another fun point number 9, like I said, the Aleph looks like an A upside down. It's in Aaron's name. What do they do when they go to the wilderness? They make a golden calf. It looks like the Aleph. It kind of relates to Aaron's name. Why do they do that? I don't know, but they do that, and that was a form of adultery. They kind of made a marriage covenant with God, and then they go worship a golden calf. Right, you can refer to Exodus 32 on that. Let's see here, verse 4. And he received the gold from their hand, and he fashioned it with an engraving tool, and made a molded calf. They made a molded. They kind of committed adultery in the wilderness. They kind of did this. They kind of did this. They kind of did that. And and then you guys know God was not happy. And lots of craziness later on in that chapter. But we'll move on. Point number 10, final point, Kentucky. Kentucky Derby. Kentucky is a place where a bunch of horses race. It's the Christy had said it's the horse place of the world, or of the U.S. When you think of Kentucky, you think of horses. Well, in Exodus 14, verse 7, also he took 600 choice chariots. This is when they were chasing them at the Red Sea. This is Pharaoh and his gang, 600 choice chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt with captains over every one of them. So that's Kentucky. That's right in the hot spot too. So just to summarize it up and be repetitive here, we've got Little Egypt. We've got Cairo, Illinois, abortion oasis. They were trying to kill babies in Exodus chapter 1. Faro Lake, New York. We got Aaron, Kentucky. We got Moses Island, Ontario. We got a lamb in Kentucky. Exodus 4:8. If you don't believe the first sign, whoop. Maybe they'll believe the second sign, whoop. Perfect. That fits. If there's a massive earthquake, there could be a river going right in there, breaking up the land. Kind of sounds like Exodus 4, verse 9. Pretty appropriate. We have, here, did I put it upside down yet? Looks like an ox head or an aleph upside down. We have, that's how they would have drawn it, kind of like in an early pictograph. And they went and worshipped a cow, a cattle, a bull, an ox, whatever you want to call it, an animal, committing adultery. You should have no other gods before me, breaking the commandments pretty quickly. And of course, we got Kentucky, the Kentucky Derby, and a bunch of horses is right in that area too. Chariots chasing down the people, where he split the sea. So I find this all very interesting. The theme really fits. I did say more than 10 things in there, but a good little summary of what is to come. I hope the rapture is soon. I do not know when it is. Jesus is the only way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. He's got lots of names. Yeshua, El Shaddai. He's the Messiah, the Anointed One. So we long and wait for Jesus to come and get us. We know the time that we're in. We are aware of the season. I hope to see in the clouds soon. The salvation verses are in my description box below. If you want to get a hold of me, the best way is Discord or leaving comments on YouTube, as always. And again, hope to see you in the clouds very soon. One day closer. Go, Jesus, go. Bing.